introduction, Assunta has mentioned that vulnerable to intersectional discrimination. For instance, Dalit children in India experience discrimination on the basis of their caste. That has to be considered also. That is an idea. If there are any specific questions, earlier someone from PAD stressed the importance about the system. Okay, if there are not many or any questions.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to, Shaheen was asking about the statistics of child marriage. Actually, whatever cases that have been reported to the Child Welfare Committee, the statistics are all with the Department of Women and Child. So it is available there.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, that was one which I raised. The other one was, I see there is something which is as informed fact and uninformed fact. So informed fact is where the cases come to, the CWC, and of course the data gets collected with the WCD. But uninformed is that there are which happening at the field level, but somewhere, the mapping is not happening. And it's not being brought to the notice. How many of them have access to mobile phones? How many of them have access to, come in person? How many of them are able to communicate what is happening to them? So I'm happy at least one part of the statistics we do have. But what about the missing facts? Like why I actually brought this to the notice was, since we are also having the International Mental Health Day, International Suicide Prevention Day, all coming up, in this month, that when it comes to the missing data with respect to the student deaths, as far as Pondicherry is concerned, or even the national statistics, we are not able to have the exact data. Hello?
Yeah. I'm hearing.
Yeah. So what happens is we have to all take a lot of efforts, and that you and me, it's very it's really impossible because we are sitting in one part of the city. The data has to be collected at the field level from different premises, especially in the rural setups as well as in the urban setups, through the NGOs, through the Nehru Yuva Kendras, if possible, because the youth are actively working there, through the Anganwadi centers. There needs to be a sectoral collection of data, especially with respect to child marriages, pre and during, because COVID-19 is still not over. So pre, during and post COVID-19, only then we'll be able to really having an idea of how many children have got married. We know this, the missing data, and we get that you're not able to have a correlational figure of what. I'm really happy that some proportionate, a team where we are incidentally looking at this particular problem, and then we are able to get the data. And I'm sure for the coming disasters, this will be a treasure to discuss and lobby with the policymakers. Thank you.
So this is what I said. Only reported cases do we have. Reported cases is what is there. So unreported cases, it won't be, you won't be available. Nobody tells it out. That is why you say it is unreported, no? So the main what the callers do is they call up Childline, and Childline is the one who reports to CWC, and immediately we report it to the concerned police station, or we report it to the SSP, Law and Order. So it's taken seriously. That's how during my period we were able to restrict around 42 child marriages. And during this COVID period, there was around 10 child marriages which were restricted. So unless and until somebody informs you, you will not come to know if a child marriage has happened. So, it can be like last time we had a consultation, Victor sir had organized about this community child protection societies, like, small hubs in all the villages. If such a system comes in place, I think it would be a great boon, so that, they will be the watchdogs of the village. They will be able to access, they will come to know what is happening in the society and, report immediately, or, help us to take action on them immediately. But yes, it needs a lot of thinking and work put together.
Dr. Helen wants to add something. Yeah.
I'm trying to take out. Yes. There's a question in the chat regarding the discrimination. Well, when we were initially carrying out studies on child labor, we generally thought it's poverty and backwardness and all that. But when we looked into the disaggregated data, it very clearly comes out that children who belong to vulnerable communities like indigenous communities, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, they are in a very, very vulnerable situation, because it's not only income poverty, but also their inaccessibility. Because when they approach the block development office of Assam, the very fact, because they come to know that this particular person belongs to scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, so immediately the attitude of the officer, not every one of them, but in some cases it comes out very clearly that the very fact that they treat differently. The children and their parents are given a different kind of treatment when they belong to vulnerable castes. And I also interacted with thousands of children. This comes out very predominantly. That's why I try to make it a point in every forum, because I have personally interacted with over 2,000 children. No, 18,000, 20,000 children, nearly 20,000 children during my travel to all the states of the country. So what happens, we need to, then I also discussed with some of the psychology professors, they say it is only a person with a very bad mental disease who discriminate in the name of caste. So because it cuts across all, teachers have teachers meted out caste discrimination against the students who are coming based on the background that they belong to. And in some of the cases in the NCR region, the National Capital Territory also, some of the very skilled people, they are very, they are very good carpenters, very good painters, very good welders. But just because they belong to a particular caste, they have not been given work at all. And especially in the hotel industry, hospitality industry, there's a very big discrimination. So I think Ms. Sumta Partha, unless and until we address this issue, all these social evil going to stay. And the girl who was raped, because untouchability, they will not touch, but they will rape. So normally when I speak, recently I spoke in Odisha, they were telling, ma'am, please don't talk about this issue. There's going to be earthquakes. I was telling them, these problems are deep-rooted. Social discrimination, social marginalization, social exclusion in the names of caste, tribe, religion. If we don't address this issue, and even if earthquake happens, unless we uproot it with a lot of boldness, as I was listening to the madam who is part of the National Commission on Women, and also the other ma'am who was earlier with the Child Welfare Committee and presently with the ICC, the local compliance committee, and also very clearly, see, these are very big problems. The issue is, do we want to address, or do we don't want to address? Because I tell this everywhere. Is it only for a topic for consultations, seminars, workshops, webinars, web meetings? And very beautifully, some of the resource persons have pointed out about the guidelines of the NHRC and NCPCR and all that. It has to be, do they address the ground reality which we face. Those who work in the field, we know, because I visited some of the villages in Tripura where the family have nothing to eat. Every time they want to eat something, they will dig the land and try to take some wild roots, they and their children. There were 6 small children. So this is the actual picture. What we earn, and very many are invisible. Some of the resource person also pointed about the Bonded Labor System Abolition Act. And Hathras, the very place where the rape has happened a few days back, there 187, it is also in the Supreme Court case, I think June 20th case, where the same village where people were taken in bondage to work in the brick kilns. So, are we willing to deal with, as Ms. Assunta has said, are we going to consider this as an issue? Because there are people with caste-minded. They're very curious about the beneficiary's caste so that they can happily discriminate. I think they should be admitted in the National Institute of Mental and Neurotic Science, who always think of caste and try to find a way to discriminate people. I will not be addressing it. I will not be telling it so heavily, because when the children, they are sent out of school, they were given, if some of you can understand Hindi, they use, அதாவது அவங்களுடைய ஜாதி பேரை சொல்லி கெட்ட வார்த்தை சொல்லி திட்டுறாங்க. So Hindi में बोलते हैं ना, गाली दे देते हैं. So therefore the children do not stay out of school. There's no conducive atmosphere. When the children of tender age are discriminated, they can understand, because adults may feel bad and they can pretend, but children, once for all, they say, rather than sitting in a classroom but the teacher constantly discriminate, I'll rather go out and work in slaughterhouses, in factories. As somebody was telling about Bangle, the molten liquid, they put it in a flute-like thing and then blow it out, that hot liquid. Then only it becomes small bulb. So that is the kind of danger which the caste is also pushing it. Are we going to, as Assunta has said, are we going to consider and accept the socio-economic, exploitative social structure, or we are going to superfluously, are we going to act on symptoms and address the issue? Are we going to diagnose? These are the root causes. The sections were deprived of their opportunities of livelihood. Sections of population have been centuries denied of their rights. And today they cannot be equal. They are poor because they have been purposely made poor. And now child labor exists, child labor continues, child labor will get perpetuated unless we boldly, bravely attack the problem of caste discrimination, marginalization, religious discrimination, or we should accept we are doing all this for only, not only, this is not this particular organization. I generally tell in every forum. Otherwise, we'll say, okay, we have to do an event, so therefore we are doing. So we have to seriously consider, unless we address very boldly the discrimination, and unless we attack the mindset which discriminate and marginalize in the name of religion, in the name of caste, in the name of tribe, in the name of rural-urban divide, the digital divide, then we will be working only on the symptoms, not diagnosing the problem. So we have to uproot this deep-rooted social evil, because I always say, unless the blood color is different from person to person, no one on earth has the right to discriminate. It is only the mind which is sick and terribly sick which discriminate people on the name and the background. When they have nothing else to be proud of, they talk about caste, they talk about religion, they talk about being proud, and they can on the rural-urban divide and the digital divide. Thank you so much for this opportunity. In case if I hurt anyone, I'm extremely sorry, but I think if I don't speak the voice of the children who are terribly discriminated and pushed into vulnerabilities, I'll be failing in my duty and missing that opportunity. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Helen. வேற ஏதாவது கேள்விகள் இருக்குங்களா?
Good afternoon, everyone. మన indigenous and heterogeneous group create అయింది ఇప్పుడు. So maybe can we start discussing?
Sorry, I didn't get it. It's all right? Yeah.
Yeah. So మీ ఏదైనా పాయింట్స్ చెప్తే కనుక నేను నోట్ డౌన్ చేసుకుని నేను ప్రెజెంటేషన్ చేస్తున్నాను. చెప్పండి సార్. మీ వాయిస్ కొంచెం క్రాక్ అవుతుంది, మళ్ళీ చెప్పండి. Voice.
Okay, thank you very much. And actually, it was a very good, deliberation. And some of us have attended or also organized in some areas during this COVID situation in the past, around 6 months. And also, I have to mention about some of the resource persons. All are important, all are resourceful, and everybody provided some insight. And for example, Mr. Manab, who gave an overall situation, he is roughly 80 plus, and he was also, supposed to go to court and deal with an inter-country or international trafficking issue. And after foregoing that and deputing his juniors, he participated in this program. And I thank him in this occasion. And also Dr. Helen Segar, she is actually working in this V.V. Giri Labor Institute, which is part of the Ministry of Labor and Employment. And I have attempted to bring her to the physical workshops which I have organized in Delhi. Though she was around 20-30 kilometers from there, she was not able to participate in that presence workshops. So after my 5 years attempts, now I'm finally able to bring her for this webinar. And thank you very much, Dr. Shagar. And also Mr. Rafiq and Chrysolite, they also provided national level pictures about child marriage and also child trafficking issues. I thank them. And here I thank Madam Kamalini Madam, who was earlier chairperson of Pondicherry Women's Commission, also the first chairperson of the Women's Commission, and also Dr. Vidya Ram Kumar. She was the first chairperson of the Child Welfare Committee, and also the first chairperson of the Local Complaints Committee right now. And also I thank Mr. Kannabiram, who is participated from the Labor Department. Also Dr. Shahin Sultana, she is associated with us for so many years through her professor, Dr. Shanmugha Velayudham, and also directly from Department of Social Work. And so what we are going to do about this workshop is we will also prepare a report about this webinar, and we will also take the recommendations from this webinar, and we will circulate it to the participants, and they can offer their suggestions also, and we will submit these memorandums and the recommendations to the respective line departments, for example, to the Education Department, to the Labor Department, to the Department of Women and Child Welfare, and also to the Police Department, which mainly deals with these trafficking issues also. So if I have left out any other department, that will also be included in later stage, and so that it reaches the proper place where we are all duty bearers to fulfill the rights of the children, with both the government and non-government actors, and the government has more power and the reach. So we will submit this memorandum to the government functionaries, to around 4 departments. If there are not much other views, we can conclude the session. வேற இப்போ அதாவது இது ஒரே ஆங்கிலத்திலே போயிடுச்சு, அதனால நம்ம ஆங்கிலத்துல தான் கேள்வி கேட்கணுமோ அப்படிங்கிற தயக்கம் எதுவும் வேண்டாம். வேற ஏதாவது கருத்துக்களோ கேள்விகளோ ஏதாவது தமிழ்ல இருந்தா கூட கேளுங்க. இதுல வந்து எல்லா ரிசோர்ஸ் பர்சனும் அதை புரிஞ்சிக்க கூடியவங்க தான். ஓகே, வேற எதுவும் கருத்துக்களோ கேள்விகளோ இல்லைன்னாக்கா இதை நம்ம முடிவுக்கு கொண்டு வந்துடுறோம். அதே போல இத ஆரம்பத்தில் நமக்கு துவக்க உரையாற்றிய சமூக நலத்துறை அமைச்சர் திரு கந்தசாமி அவர்களுக்கும் மற்றும் இது பற்றிய ஒரு சிறிய அறிமுகம் கூறிய தங்கம் பெருமாள் அவர்களுக்கும் எனது நன்றியை இன்னொரு முறை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். பங்கேற்ற உங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் நன்றி. நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.